Hi friend! So Boox has just expanded their Go series lineup and added two new devices. One is the Boox Go 7, which has a regular black and white screen, and the other is the Go Color 7 second generation with a Kaleido 3 color display. Now the one I have here is the color version and I'm very excited to share everything about it. I will walk you through what's new in this Gen 2 version, the pricing, design and build quality, all the key features and more. Make sure to stick around until the end because I will also go over detailed battery stats from my own tests and help you figure out if this is the right device for you. Before we go into any details, here's the bottom line for me. This device gives you way more than a typical e-reader like a Kindle or Kobo, which are mostly focused on reading, listening to audiobooks and maybe doing a bit of note-taking. With the new Go Color 7 Gen 2, Boox decided to bring in Stylus support. That means you can actually use their Neo Reader app to write full notes, just like you can on the bigger tablets like the Note Air 4C or the Note Max, which I've reviewed in the past. So you're getting almost all the same features as those larger Boox tablets, but in a much smaller and more portable size. So you get access to the Play Store, which opens the door to third-party apps. That makes this device useful not just for reading, but also for light office work, journaling, managing your emails, moving files around from your cloud storage, or even handling some Excel files. I say light office work because honestly the screen is small, so it's probably not ideal for more complex tasks, but on the flip side, it's super lightweight and really easy to carry around. Now, if you're thinking about getting this device, the big question is, do you actually need a color screen? If you're mostly going to be reading books, looking at diagrams or content that doesn't really need color, then go for the black and white version. It has a brighter screen and better contrast. The color version I have here does have a slightly darker screen, and for some people that's a deal breaker. You will need to be in a well-lit environment or turn up the front light, which will drain the battery faster. Also, if you read a lot of full-size PDFs or academic papers, the 7-inch screen may feel a bit too cramped. In that case, I'd recommend looking at the Go 10.3 version, or maybe even stepping up to the Note series that gives you 10.3 inches or even 13.3 inches screens. With all that said, let's just jump into more detailed review and take a closer look at this device. I always like to start with pricing because it gives us a good idea of where this device fits compared to others and what expectations we should have before diving into the details. The Boox Go 7 Color Gen 2 is listed at $280 in the US for the standard bundle, which includes the device and a magnetic case. If you want to add the optional stylus, the price goes up to $317. On Amazon US, the device by itself is also around $280, so it's clear that Boox would rather you buy directly from their own store. In Europe, Boox Shop lists it at €280 for just the device and €317 for the bundle with the case and stylus. And honestly, these are pretty solid prices. Usually we see a big difference between US and EU prices, but not this time. Knowing what Boox offers in terms of hardware, software, the display quality and overall build, I think this is a really good deal for a device that can do so much. Now, when we look at the competition, the two main ones that come to mind are the Kobo Libra Color and the Kindle Colorsoft. The Kobo Libra Color costs $230 in the US, and in the UK and most of Europe you will find it around €240 through Kobo's store. The Kindle Colorsoft Signature Edition is listed at $280 in the US, but you may find it on sale from time to time. In Europe it's around €290, so it's very similar to the Go 7 Color. Now both the Kobo and Kindle options are cheaper, but it's important to remember one thing, they are mainly e-readers. With the Boox Go 7 Color, you're getting a lot more in terms of productivity. You can use it to take full notes, open third-party apps, handle documents and so much more. So for that extra bit of money, you're getting more than just a reading device. I guess what I'm also trying to say is that the Go Color 7 is priced fairly. Now, one last thing to consider is whether you actually need a color screen. The monochrome version of this device has the exact same specs, except the screen is black and white Carta 1300, which is brighter and sharper than the Kaleido 3 color display. It also costs about $30 less, so if you're mainly reading text and you don't mind black and white images or book covers, that version might actually be the better pick for you. And by the way, if you're thinking of picking up any of these devices, please consider using the affiliate links below with most up-to-date prices. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it really helps support my work and lets me know that this video was helpful to you. So thanks so much for your support. Now let's talk about the design and build quality. The Go 7 Color has a plastic body with a flash glass front, and the back has this really nice matte textured finish that gives it a better grip. It feels great in the hand, solid, well built, like it's made from one single piece. It's not the same premium feel like on the Remarkable device, but nothing feels cheap or flimsy here. It's also super slim at just 6.4mm and weighs around 195 grams, which puts it right in line with a typical Kindle e-reader. So it's very light and easy to hold for long reading sessions. In terms of buttons, there's a power button at the bottom, and on the right side at the front we have two physical page turn buttons. These buttons have a nice tactile feel and a satisfying click to them. I'm really glad that Boox decided to keep those physical buttons. I think it's a big selling point, especially since fewer devices are actually offering them these days. You also get USB-C charging, built-in speaker, and even a microSD card slot, which lets you expand your storage up to 1 TB. That's a pretty sweet bonus, especially for those who carry around a big library or a lot of documents and PDFs. The screen is protected by glass, which gives it a clean and modern look, but yes, it does attract fingerprints pretty easily. Now, as you probably know, glass is glass, and glass breaks, so I definitely recommend using a protective case. If you get the magnetic one, it also supports auto sleep and wake, which is always a nice bonus. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this device doesn't have an official IP rating, so it's not fully waterproof. That said, Boox did design it to be water repellent, which means that it should handle day-to-day splashes, light rain or small spills just fine. Just don't take it for a bath or dunk it into the sink. Honestly, who does that? Let's go over some of the tech specs real quick. The Boox Go 7 Color Gen 2 comes with a 7-inch ink Kaleido 3 Carta 1200 color display. That's a mouthful. It has a resolution of 1680 by 1264, which gives you 300 pixels per inch for black and white text and 150 ppi for color. Now, the reason the color resolution is lower is because there's a color filter layer on top of the screen, so it's a bit of a cheating way to get the color. That's just how these screens work. So it lets you see up to 4096 colors, which is pretty cool for an ink display. Under the hood, we've got an octa-core Snapdragon 750G processor, 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. Out of that, you get about 46 gigs of usable space. And as I mentioned earlier, you can expand the storage with a microSD card if you ever need more room for books, comics or documents. The screen also has an adjustable front light with both white and amber LEDs. That means you can warm up the tone for comfortable reading during the day or at night, which is great if you're reading in bed and don't want your eyes to feel like they're staring into the sun. The device runs Boox Custom Launcher on top of Android 13, and yes, it has a full Play Store access. So you can download apps like Kindle, Kobo, Chrome, and even your favorite note-taking or productivity apps. And when it comes to file formats, it's got you covered. It supports everything from EPUBs, MOBI and PDF to more niche formats like CBR, CBZ, PPTX, Docs and way more. If it's a document, chances are this thing can open it. Now I want to shift gears and talk about the battery. The Go Color 7 comes with a 2300 mAh lithium-ion battery. Now, even though it has a color screen, keep in mind this is still an ink device, and ink is pretty efficient by nature. In real world use, I found the battery lasted several days of typical reading between charges, but with some caveats. While researching this device, I noticed that a lot of users expressed their disappointment with the battery life. The most common complaint? It drains much faster compared to traditional e-readers like Kindles or the Kobo Libra Color. People often say it lasts a couple of days rather than weeks, which can be a big shift if you're used to forgetting where your charger even is. Now there's few reasons for that, but the main one is that the device has much more demanding hardware, mainly CPU and GPU, which allows for more functionality at the expense of battery drain. That said, I decided to test it myself anyway. I ran two types of tests, one for low impact usage and one for high impact. Low impact would be your everyday scenario, so Wi-Fi on, Bluetooth off and front light completely off. High impact meant Wi-Fi on and brightness turned all the way up. In the low impact test, I read using fast refresh mode and turned the page every 20 seconds. Under those conditions, I saw an average of about 3% battery drain per hour. And that's decent, not amazing, but workable. In the high impact test with both front light and warm light on max brightness, the battery dropped by 14% per hour. So yeah, that's a pretty big jump. It really shows just how much power the lighting system can draw. Keep also in mind that there's no built-in light sensor, so it won't automatically adjust the brightness. If you want the battery to stretch out over a few days, you will need to keep an eye on the lighting settings and keep brightness low when possible. The reading experience on the Go 7 Color Gen 2 is excellent, especially for comics, manga and magazines. The Kaleido 3 display brings color content to life even if the colors are a bit muted compared to LCDs. Monochrome text looks razor sharp at 300 ppi, making novels and PDFs a joy to read. The adjustable warm and white front light makes reading comfortable in any lighting, and the 7-inch screen feels like holding a small paperback. One feature that I really like is the physical page turn buttons. They're easy to use and you can fully customize what they do. However, there's a catch. These buttons don't always work perfectly with the third-party apps. For example, I tried setting them to turn pages in the Kindle and Kobo apps, but they didn't work as expected. That said, I found a workaround for the Kindle app. If you enable the turn pages with volume control settings, and then assign page turning to the volume buttons, it works smoothly. But then in YouTube Music, I set the buttons to control volume and that worked perfectly fine. So it's a bit of a hit and miss depending on the app and the action you select. What's kind of cool about these buttons as well is that you can also assign long press actions to each button. I've set mine to refresh the screen or launch the AI assistant with a 1.5 second hold. Very handy stuff. Moving along, some ghosting is noticeable when reading color content, especially in comics or image-heavy magazines. That said, the level of ghosting is comparable to other color e-readers. While it may bother some users, I personally don't find it to be a deal breaker. There's also a built-in text-to-speech feature if you'd rather listen than read. It works with the onboard speaker or Bluetooth headphones. Just keep in mind the speaker quality is fairly basic, good enough for casual listening but nothing impressive. The Go Color 7 is compatible with the Boox InkSense stylus, but just like the Kobo Libra Color, the stylus is sold separately. Now, I didn't buy the stylus, so I can't personally show you how it performs or feels to write with. Now here's something important. The new Go series uses Universal Stylus Initiative USI 2.0 technology. That means that any stylus with USI 2.0 support should work just fine, but this technology in my view is far from being universal. The reason none of my styluses worked is because they use Wacom EMR, USI 1.0 or capacitive touch, which aren't supported on this type of ink screen. So if you're like me and have older styluses lying around, just know they probably won't work here. From what I've read and gathered, the stylus performance seems to be just okay. The main reason is that the screen is made of glass, and it's a bit too slippery to give you that satisfying paper-like feel. Also, the 7-inch screen is a bit small for long writing sessions. It's probably fine for quick annotations or highlighting, but it's definitely not the ideal size for taking long notes or journaling. If you've used the new Go series with a USI 2.0 stylus, feel free to share your experience in the comments below. So, who is the Go Color 7 really best suited for? First up, if you're a color reader, someone who loves comics, manga, graphic novels or magazines, this device is made for you. The vibrant Kaleido 3 color display brings all those visuals to life. If black and white just doesn't cut it, this is a solid choice. Next, productivity seekers will appreciate it too. Running Android 13 with access to the Play Store means you can install apps like Kindle, Kobo, note-taking apps, email and even light office tools. So if you want an e-reader that can do a bit more than just display books, this definitely fits the bill, although keep in mind the small screen size. Another plus, if you value physical buttons, this device has fully customizable, responsive page turn buttons. That makes one-handed reading super natural, something many other e-readers simply don't offer. Now, who may want to skip this device? I think if you're a pure reader on a budget, cheaper options like the Kobo or Kindle devices might be better. They may offer a smoother, simpler reading experience. And if you're a heavy note taker or student who works a lot with full-size PDFs, I think the 7-inch screen may feel just too small. For that, you'd be better off with larger Boox models like the Go 10.3 or the Note series. So that's the Boox Go Color 7 Gen 2 in a nutshell. A great choice if you want color, portability and a bit more versatility than a basic e-reader. Now, if this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support me further, you can get me a coffee or become a YouTube member like all those awesome people right here. I really appreciate all your support. And if you're thinking about getting this device, please consider using the affiliate links in the description for the most up-to-date prices. No extra cost to you, but it helps support my work, so thank you so much. But that's not all. If you want to learn about the bigger brother of the Go series, check out my review of the Boox Note Air 4C. And if you want something that displays A4 pages at full size, here's my review of the Boox Note Max with its massive 13.3-inch screen. That's it from me, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!